Hi, my name's William Schaeffer, and I have an idea for you today, one step at a time. Small, manageable increments. The basic idea is if you have a big task to accomplish, just concentrate on one thing at a time. Don't worry about the whole task. Plan a general strategy, pick one small thing, and do that. Do it completely, and then put it away. Then go to the next one and do that. And over time, you will be amazed at how much you can accomplish with very limited resources and perhaps even very limited ability. This is the wisdom really in the tortoise and the hare, the old Aesop's fable, which I like. Now, the way I discovered it was different or kind of funny. The summer after 5th grade, I joined a Little League team. Now, I never had any interest in baseball at all and did not really enjoy it, but it seemed to be the thing to do, and I was eager to do whatever it was that we should do. Earlier, all my classmates in the previous years at the previous school I went to were in Cub Scouts. And I think I was the only boy that wasn't in a Cub Scout troop. And every day when they came to school in their Cub Scout uniforms, I felt left out. So when I had an opportunity to be on a Little League team and my friend's father was the coach, I thought it was a great opportunity. Unfortunately, I have no natural inclination toward baseball, toward being interested in it or having really any ability. And in addition, I was always the youngest person in my grade, so I was even less coordinated than average. So I was the worst guy on the team. There was one game where I was the only guy who got struck out, and we went through the entire batting order 3 times. But I still, did what I could to try and do what I could to help the team. One day, after a game that was at Edison Junior High School, and this was about 3 miles from my house, and I'm not sure at the time exactly where it was, but I knew generally it was to the east. Well, after the game, they just left me there. All the other fathers and all the other boys drove off, and I was left at the field, and no one knew. And I had to get home. So I started walking. I had no other choice. It was early in the afternoon, and I probably could get home before sundown because it was summertime. And I started walking. And I figured out as I walked where I was and how to get to where I wanted to be. And I can't remember all the names of the streets now, but eventually I got to Child Street, which went all the way down to our part of the subdivision or housing area. Anyway, I'm walking along, and I'd been walking for a few hours, a couple hours. It wasn't that far. But I was getting tired, and I wanted to just sit down. But at the same time, I was concerned about actually getting home. So I developed this game I played with myself, where I didn't worry about how far it was to my house. And all I had to do was to walk to the corner on the next block. So that's what I did. And I walked block by block by block all the way back to my house. And when I got there, no one missed me and no one knew I was gone. Anyway, that is how I learned the principle of one step at a time. When my Little League coach and everyone else on the baseball team left me at the field and I had to walk home. My father usually worked weekends, and he rarely was available to go to the games. Later on at college, I met a fellow, Charles Bridges. May he rest in peace. But he was working on a very interesting personal project. He was assembling a bibliography of all the books and articles that were written on a certain family or genus of butterfly. And his bibliography had 10 to 14,000 entries. And he had these all stored on the mainframe computer at University of Illinois and would print them out page by page. Now the printer had a very arcane printer instructions that was just a sequence of keystrokes, and he had to proofread each page after it was printed to make sure the information was printed correctly. And it was kind of a daunting task to go through 10 to 14,000 entries one by one. And the way he did it was he did a page a day. And he invented the idea, relax your constraints. If a few days went by when he didn't keep up with and he had a backlog of a few pages, he invented the idea of relax your constraints. He just wiped the table to zero. And instead of doing a page, all he had to do was clean off the desk and lay the one paper down there for the next day, and he was done. And this was a technique that Charles used to get back on track and accomplish his goal. In this case, publishing a bibliography of all the articles that had been written about a certain family of butterflies. And he actually finished that and started another one on moths or something. I can't remember. So relax your constraints one step at a time. And you can really accomplish a lot over time if you do that yourself. Myself, I've published 20 CDs of recorded music. And one of them, Music for Nightmares, gets a lot of listens here on this YouTube channel. I have IMDb credit in 39 feature films. That was my career for a while. I've painted 300 paintings and artworks, and recently had an entire show myself. I have almost 1,100 videos on YouTube. I have over 700 entries in my blog. And yet, this was all done in little steps on very cheap equipment in the corners of the free time of my life. I work mostly for minimum wage now, and I do not have a lot of resources, but I do what I can. In the past year, I've probably published 300 videos. And you can do it too. But the key to being successful or overcoming a hardship or accomplishing your goal, or one key to doing that, is taking it step by step by step. Don't look at the entire thing that needs to be done, but do one thing that you can do. And then when you finish that, do another thing. And if you cannot keep the schedule you originally intended, don't give up. Relax your constraints. Give yourself an even simpler task and keep moving forward. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, shimmy along on the ground like a worm. And if you can't do that, then just lay there and wait until you can. But never forget your objective, and break down the steps to that objective in small, fun, manageable tasks. And you will amaze yourself at the things you can do and the fun you can have. That's it. That's my idea. One step at a time. Thank you, and leave your comments below.